Hello and welcome back to another edition of Michigan Conservative Roundtable. This is Mac. I'm solo today, and I just got on. I want to talk about an unexpected experience I had today. I went to the grocery store, a local Kroger. That's a chain in Michigan. I don't know if they're national or regional or what they are, but we have them here. It's been around for a long time. So I go shopping. I grab some bread. I grab some milk. And I grabbed the other staples, a six-pack of beer, and 2 containers of ice cream for my wife, who likes ice cream when she comes home from work. And I pay. I go through the self-checkout. I pay. I leave. I load the groceries into my car. And being the good citizen that I am, I go ahead and put my cart in the cart corral so that the cart guy doesn't have, one more cart to chase around the lot. So as I do that, as I start to walk back towards my car, a gentleman comes up to me and he says, those self-checkouts, they cost people their jobs. I don't know this guy. I've never seen him before in my life, so I, thinking he may just want to make conversation, because I am a nut magnet. If there's a nut within 300 yards of me, they find me and they want to talk to me. It's been that way my whole life. My wife says it's because I have a kind face. I always jokingly tell her, I have the kind of face you don't want to bother with. But so anyway, he says what he says about they cost people jobs, and I say I suppose there's some truth in that. And he says, the people who use them, they ought to go without food and water and shelter, because they put people out on the street and they ought to see what it's like. So instantly, I kind of realize he's talking about me and how I should be punished for using the self-checkout. Well, I take exception to that because I didn't design the store. I don't decide what lanes that get used and what don't. I don't decide what cashiers are employed or are not employed. I'm just buying my bread, my milk, my 2 tubs of ice cream, and my 6-pack of beer. That's all I'm doing. But he was kind of in my face, and he kind of got close to me. So I'm an easygoing, mild-mannered kind of guy until you provoke me, which he did. So I take a step towards him, and I get nose to nose with him, and I tell him he can pretty much shove his opinion where the sun don't shine. And if he doesn't want to do it, I could do it for him. Well, he declines, and he turns around and walks away. Now, if he had wanted to have a civil discussion about this, we certainly could have. I would have conceded to him that, yeah, sure, it costs some jobs. But in Michigan, under the great Trump economy that we have right now, we have more help wanted signs than I've ever seen in my 60-year life. So there are jobs out there for people to get. And I would have pointed a few other things out to him, like, for instance, the fact that many of the cashiers are elderly. Well, why are they working? And why are they the cashiers? When you have young people working the self-checkout lane, for when the machine doesn't work or people don't understand it, which is very often me, you have to ask yourself, why is that? Well, because young people don't want to work. So many of them don't want to work. My daughter's profession, both of my daughter's jobs, they work with people who just can't come to work every day. They can't come to work on time. Older people do these things. They come to work on time. And I just thought of a dozen other reasons why he was wrong about the self-checkout lane. And I don't know why he felt compelled to tell me or to straighten me out or to chastise me or whatever his purpose is, because he decided to be so aggressive. I didn't really get a chance to find out. Well, what he could have said was, hey, can we talk a minute about that, using that self-checkout lane and so on and so forth? And I would have had a discussion with him, a civil discussion. But he didn't do that. He decided to get in my face and straighten me out and chastise me and lecture me, even though he's never seen me before in his life. And I'll tell you, in today's society, that's a little bit of a dangerous thing to do, because you just don't know who you're dealing with. You should pretty much leave people alone. What I could have said was, hey, do you have electricity at your house? He would say yes, of course. And I'd say, well, that put candle workers and oil lamp people out of work. Do you drive a car? Well, that put the wagon business out of business. It put a lot of train people out of business. Streetcars, we don't see streetcars anymore because everyone has a car. Put them out of business. I guess that's not important. If that's really your agenda to keep people in jobs. And this chain I'm talking about, Kroger, I'm sure they had a hand in shutting down an awful lot of mom and pop stores. I can think of a Chatham's, Wrigley, Great Scott, and if you're from the Michigan area, you recognize those names if you're old enough. Tons of stores have gone out of business. Chain stores have gone out of business, A&P, because these businesses like Kroger and Michigan Meyer and, of course, Walmart, they know how to do it better. And that's why they've succeeded, because they do it better. You could go on and on with the examples, I just don't know why this guy felt he had the right to or even the need to get in my face. Like I said, when there are so many jobs out there to be had, people can get them. And I don't know what he hoped to accomplish. I don't. Maybe it's because of my kind face. I look like a pushover, and I was going to apologize for having used that checkout lane, which I wasn't, because the 2 lanes they did have open there were about 10 people deep in line with lots of items, carts full. I may have been there as long as a half an hour in either of those lines, when in fact I just got out of there in a good 5 minutes by doing it myself. So I suspect he was a leftist. They think they know better about everything. So I just wanted to share my experience with you listeners and maybe get some input from what you think. If you can leave a comment in the comment section, we'll reply to all of those. And as we like to say on the Michigan Conservative Roundtable, be safe, watch your 6. And to the guy in the parking lot, don't tread on me.